TG Geeks, episode 275, May 25th, 2020. Hold on to your wigs and glasses because we're here. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre. You name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Memorial Day weekend, Phoenix, Arizona, where unfortunately Phoenix Comic Fest is not happening. Fan Fusion. Okay.
Comic fan something
Fest.
or other.
Confusion.
Confusion. Yeah.
Yes.
Phoenix Confusion.
There we go.
That's it.
And that's what it is this year, that's for sure.
I think it'll be forever named that. And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from also TG Square Studios. And yes, this is episode 275, or as I like to put it, in quarantine days, day 3000.
Exactly. Let's get on with it.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we have an interview with Steve Warren and Johnnie Ingram. They are the co-creators and executive producers of the hit show We're Here on HBO. And we've run a couple of press releases about that, and it really looks fascinating. And I think you're going to really enjoy this.
This was a great conversation.
It was a great conversation. And then we have our birthday shout-outs, our featured podcast of the week, everybody's favorite feedback, and our regular shout-outs. I think we have something for the second segment. Ben hasn't shared that with me.
Not yet.
What that is, but he has an idea. And then we have our weekly recap and our regular shout-outs. So let's get on with the interview. And this time we welcome Mr. Steve Warren and Johnnie Ingram, the co-creators and executive producers of the new hit show on HBO called We're Here. Welcome to the show, Johnnie and Steve.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so happy to be here.
Yeah. So I would like to say that this looks like a show that is a traveling do-it-yourself drag show. Would you agree with that, or have I messed that up completely?
Yeah, no, I mean, this show has a lot of layers to it. This is Johnnie speaking, and it is it's an evolution. I think some people have called us they called the show sort of breakthrough for drag. Others have said it's just very emotional and moving. We've been compared to other unscripted franchises. It really is sort of a lot of different things, but also twisted into something very new.
Well, that's cool. So if you can, let's start back before the show and tell us who Steve Warren and Johnnie Ingram are and how you got into the business of filmmaking, or making a show. And obviously you must be associated with drag culture in some way, or you wouldn't be doing this. So give us the elevator pitch of your life to this point. Lives.
So this is Steve talking now. So I grew up in Rochester, New York, went to school back east, and then I have been an entertainment lawyer for over 30 years in Los Angeles, and I represent many of the top actors, directors, and writers in the business. And that, in addition to that, I have been very active in the community and in LGBTQ politics. I was the co-chair of GLAAD for several years, and I was on the board of GLAAD for, I think, 8 years altogether.
Wow.
And then Johnny and I met, and we've been a couple for over 3 years right now, and Johnny can tell you about his background.
Yeah, so my background is in the creative arts. I studied design and photography and was lucky enough to land a job as an advertising executive for about 14 years. Before I got into advertising and in my college years, I worked at many drag bars in Chicago, and I got to know a lot of really amazing drag artists there and get to see how the art form is created and executed, and just really became really close friends with a lot of drag performers. And a lot of my, the people that I even worked with then, I am very much in touch with today. And I went on into an advertising career, which was also mostly rooted in doing work that was tried to give back and was an advocate for the community where and whenever possible, and made many campaigns for the LGBTQ community, including GLAAD. And I think this is, clearly where we get to marry our minds together, not only as a couple, but also as creative people. This is some of that is rooted in how this show came to be. Wow,
quite a interesting backgrounds for both of you that you wind up making a TV series. It's just, that's fascinating. But hey, what is the world all about is making your dreams come true. So tell us exactly what this show is about. What was its genesis, and how did you come up with the idea? And namely, how did you sell HBO on the concept?
So here's what happened. Johnny and I were on vacation about a year and a half ago over the holidays. It was raining a lot, so we were watching more TV than we would normally watch. We were watching RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars at the time, and that as we were watching it, we loved it, obviously, but we thought, given what we care about in the world, what more can we do in the world of drag? How can we make a statement? How can we experiment a little bit? And that the two of us sort of looked at each other and we thought, what if we took drag and brought it to small towns? From that moment, we then created a whole show in our minds, and we knew it was going to be a hit and it was going to be powerful.
And it's bigger than just bringing, famous drag queens from the RuPaul Drag Race franchise in the small towns. It's about taking a counterculture and into these small towns and taking locals and telling their stories. And some of the locals vary from the whole spectrum, but also including a lot of allies that can learn from the process of not only transforming into their new drag persona, but also performing in front of their entire community and bringing that community together for a one-night only performance that celebrates the stories of their own community. And also brings people together so they can see that they have a huge representation of the LGBTQ community and allies that already exist in these small towns. So there's a lot of layers into how the show's executed and how it came to be, but there is a lot of advocacy work within the entertaining value of the television show.
Right.
And then specifically, we got to HBO because basically the week after we got back from that trip, I had a lunch scheduled with a friend of mine who was the head of HBO, and we were having lunch and we were just talking about business and tons of other things. And I never thought that HBO would be a place that would do an unscripted show because they really hadn't done unscripted shows before. But I just told him about it, and he immediately said, I love this. I want this. There's a woman in New York who runs my unscripted division that has wanted to do something like this for years. Can I tell her about it? I said, sure. And from that, it was born.
Wow, that's amazing.
You guys fell into this quite literally.
Well, it helps that you have the contacts that you have.
Well, but at the same
also,
time, though, I mean, how many times we've talked to a lot of people who've been in the business for a long time, and so many of them push hard, regularly, for long periods of time, just trying to get their idea across so that it can finally be birthed and shown for other people to be able to see. And this, it sounds like you guys, I mean, in 1 week, dreamed up an idea, next week, presented just out of casual conversation, just happened to mention it, and then it seems to like catch on immediately. I mean, so what was then HBO's response at that point?
I mean, for as a background in advertising, as an advertising creative, we pitch lots of ideas over and over and over again. So just for some reason, for that just sort of comes second nature, at least from an organizing ideas in the head and getting them ready to pitch to HBO. Was like, okay, a week. We can do this. And we literally just sat, talked it through. The idea was very clear in our heads. And I, having the design background, I'm able to do a lot of stuff on my own. I even edited the pitch video and the pitch deck ourselves. And so we just went with our hearts, forward. And we went into pitch it to HBO. And it really was. It was one of those just, holy shit, we just did this.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, literally from the moment Johnny and I conceived of the show to this moment right now, it's been sort of a dream. It's been the fulfillment of what we care about so much in life, which is social justice,
right?
Which is entertaining people, which is making people feel connected when they otherwise wouldn't feel connected. And everything that we care about is sort of rolled up into the show.
Right.
And that, strangely enough, we knew right from the beginning who the three queens were going to be. We never even talked to another queen. We wanted Eureka, Bob, and Shangela. We knew in our hearts they would be the right people, and we did that.
Wow.
And I'm also from a small town in eastern Tennessee, and growing up in really small community, I've experienced a lot of just the struggles how it can be for the LGBTQ community, and even just when escaping how I felt I needed to escape these communities, I've always in the back of my head just sort of thought, like, why did I have to leave? And even enlisting our three queens, we wanted our queens to have a little bit of their own sort of understanding of these small towns. So each of our drag queens are all from small towns, so they can relate, and they've all left, to become these drag superstars. Thanks to RuPaul, there's a huge platform for drag artists now. But now taking that platform and putting it to work is kind of a little bit of the soul of the show.
Right. Well, trust me, I understand about growing up in a small town. I grew up in a small town in northeastern Oklahoma, so it's like, yikes.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'd love to go to Oklahoma. That's one of the places that we've actually thought would be a particularly interesting place.
I was lucky.
Interesting is the operative word.
Yeah.
Well, there is
Dollywood in East Tennessee, so we had at least one. We had one gay icon that was close by that we could always go and feel like we could celebrate ourselves,
right,
or enhance ourselves.
And there is an LGBTQ community that is in Tulsa. I don't know about the small town that you lived in much.
No, I don't know, but
it would be interesting to take it there, I will admit.
Yeah, that's true. Then you could, because
what's the name of your town?
I'm from Muskogee, and before you say it, yes, I am an Okie from Muskogee.
He is the Okie from Muskogee, so yes, he tries to avoid sharing that.
But yeah,
and how many people live there?
Well, I always like to say that when I lived there, 40 years ago, there was 50,000 people, and there's still 50,000 people there. But I'm sure it's probably 60.
That would actually be a bigger place that we've gone to then. But
Yeah.
what's interesting, I guarantee you, I guarantee you from what we didn't know this before we started the show, there is a community there. They may not be organized.
Right.
They may not have a bar. They may not have a community space, but there is a community.
And one thing to bring out a community is 3 fabulous drag queens putting on a local drag show when people haven't talked about being queer or gay or lesbian, or tucked it away for just fear of small town gossip.
Exactly.
They start gossiping when we come to town.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think that happened is Muskegee would never be the same after we left, because there is a beauty. There's something beautiful that happens when we go to the towns. That we have the queens, we have the participants, the drag daughters who are the local residents. Then we have our whole crew, and that we get to know the town. We go to the barbershops. We get our hair cut there. We have our favorite coffee shops, our favorite restaurants. We go and we talk to everybody. And that it's genuinely a wonderful experience where people get to see people that they never would have otherwise met, us with them with us. And it's just a beautiful experience of what happens. There's some uncomfortable stuff, absolutely, but on the whole, it's a testament to the fact that we're not nearly as divided in this country as we are led to believe.
Right. I agree with that. I remember some years ago, Keith had his 10th year high school reunion.
Not 10th. It was 20th.
20th, I'm sorry. 20th. And
30.
30th.
No, it was 30.
That's right. What am I saying?
It's
10th.
Jesus.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's 30th high school reunion. What am I saying? 10th. My God.
We've been together for 24 years.
Yeah.
So it's like all the dates run together.
I'm sorry. Total mess up. No, it was his 30th high school reunion, and I admit I was very nervous just going as his husband back to Muskogee, and I was quite surprised at the level of acceptance that was there. And even those few people who were naysayers, shall we say, at least they kept their opinions down to a very dull roar, to the point where it didn't ruin my time.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think there's a lot more diversity and acceptance that is there in places like Muskogee and other small towns that most people might not realize.
And I think that it's been an evolution for drag over many, many years, and RuPaul was helped a lot of that, and then now you're taking it to a completely different level and reaching out to those folks in those small towns to do the things, to be community, to be family, to be whatever you want to call it, and take that and spread it around. Equality, diversity,
leaders,
exactly,
and not necessarily expecting these drag performers, for one night to become, these huge beacons. But some have, and some already were, but just never really got the light that they deserve. And I think that with being lucky to be on such a network like HBO and being able to tell stories authentically and represent our community authentically is really special. Mm-hmm. And I think that kind of light is much needed in these small towns.
Right.
And having seen some of these, because I have seen some clips, and with Bob the Drag Queen, Crystal Method, who I think I absolutely adore, Crystal Method, and Shangela. I mean, they have such over the top, and I say this in a good way, over the top personalities that are just so open and so welcoming, as they come into these places. It's like, how can you, I mean, especially with the one clip that I saw of Crystal, I mean, she dressed in this most incredible thing that looks like Ursula.
For 1 second, Eureka. Crystal Method is currently on the new season of RuPaul. Eureka, she would literally kill us if we didn't correct you now. Eureka is our third.
Oh, sorry.
I think you're just mixing up names.
Okay,
Eureka
I'm sorry.
Just the sweetest. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Eureka.
My bad.
So
don't worry. Oh, no problem at all.
Yeah, we've kind of with this show been slowly moving into a lot more diversity than what we normally had started out. We had started out talking about movies and film and sci-fi, and we happened to be the two gay geeks. And now we are the two gay geeks that happen to talk about all of that other stuff and being more diverse and talking to a lot of gay authors and filmmakers and whatnot like that. We were actually last year at Phoenix Comic-Con or Comic Fest or
Comic Fest, whatever. Fan Fusion.
There we go. Whatever they're calling it today.
They keep changing the name.
There was, they did a big drag show, and there's they have 100,000 people that come to this event every year, which should have been this weekend, but it was really fascinating. They had somebody that was on RuPaul's Drag Race that came in, and then all of the local drag queens that Barbara Seville was.
She's like the local big Miss Gay Arizona. She's phenomenal. But yeah, it was such a hit that I think had Fan Fusion been allowed to go on, I think they probably would have done it again this year as well. And it's just been such an education,
eye-opening experience. Yeah,
it's been eye-opening. Yes,
Well, what happens is when you see the show, one of the things that Bob says over and over is, if it's not anything else, drag is fun.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
That no matter what, drag is fun, and you realize it's not. It can be a lot of other things, but at the end of the day, it's letting people have a little freedom in their lives.
I would sort of equate it to how sometimes it can be really challenging to live a queer life, and the day to day, whether it's your job or your family or you're having some issues in life, as most everyone can relate to as a human being, but in general, going to the gay bar at night and just watching a drag show can just be so relieving of that, all the day's hardships, and I think that is at its core what drag is. It's fun, it's enjoyable, allows you to sort of just relax and have a good time, and shake off the any of the day's hardships. And in this case, we've taken it up a notch by bringing these celebrity drag performers, and we bring the whole glam squad with us, and we celebrate the town's individuality and its own, and its own sort of has its own celebratory moment to celebrate each other. And it's really, really beautiful.
And they can shake off a whole life full of experiences by being dressing up and doing drag and being, being somebody that they could dream to be. And that's the fascinating thing about drag.
Yeah, you did hit on something earlier. You called it freeing, and I think there's a lot of truth to that, because as society has gone on, we tend to kind of clamp down. We bury a lot of stuff because society demands us to. And then all of a sudden, to be able to put on something that's absolutely glamorous and fabulous, it's literally like, you're adding clothes, but at the same time, you're shedding skin and shedding layers of emotional baggage.
Beautiful. You're exactly right. Right.
It's performance art. And using drag as that art form. It is really quite beautiful, and the episodes, you'll notice there is a lot of fun and humorous moments, but there's a lot of really great storytelling, and the focus is more on the town. The town is very much a character in all of the episodes, and the candidates and their stories, and listening to their stories. And having an opportunity to tell their stories. And then at the end, we have our talented drag performers create a customized one-time only event that sort of is the either exclamation point on their story or the cathartic moment they've been needing to have. There's just all kinds of ways that drag can be used to tell the town story.
Exactly.
Oh, it's fantastic. So I would love to talk to you some more, but unfortunately we're up against the red line. So if people want to learn, well, first, let's just the two of you, Steve and Johnny. If people want to learn more about either of you, do either of you have any kind of social media presence that they can follow you guys on?
That you want to share?
We live pretty relatively private lives, but I do have an Instagram where this is Johnny speaking, where I like to upload a lot of photos from the show. And it's quite simple. My name is Johnnie Ingram, but my handle is Johnny Instagram, JohnnieInstagram. And there you can see a lot of sort of behind the scenes shots from the show. And that's probably our social media presence.
And I encourage everybody to go on Twitter, look up the hashtag We're Here, and you'll see how the country and the world has really embraced the show. That the comments that we've seen really just warm our hearts. And they're so beautiful.
And also following at We're Here on Twitter, HBO, or at We're Here on Twitter, on Instagram, we'll also have a lot of really great content from the Queens, specifically for the show, as they are busy performers as well. There's a lot of really fun stuff to look up. The hashtag We're Here as well is quite enjoyable.
This is great. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having us, and we are your new fans.
Thanks.
Ditto to that.
Hey guys, my name's Gigi Edgley. I play Tiana on Farscape, and I'm the host of Jim Henson's Creature Shot Challenge, and you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks. Big love.
What a fascinating conversation.
That was such a great conversation.
It really was. It was great to talk to them.
I think these guys are amazing.
Yeah. And we have to
watch it.
We have to watch. Maybe that's what we can watch tonight.
Yeah.
As we're on Saturday, as we're recording this, we'll watch those tonight and see exactly what we talked about.
Right.
Yeah. So here's a few selected birthdays for May 25th through May 31st, 2020. May 25th, Ian McKellen.
Oh my God, what needs to be said?
Yeah, exactly. Actor, out gay man, best friends with Patrick Stewart, played Gandalf, Magneto, originated the role of Salieri on Broadway.
I didn't realize he originated the part.
Yes,
oh,
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, fine little piece of trivia there. Mike Myers, actor, Austin Powers.
Oh, yes.
Just crazy.
Wayne's World.
Yep. Frank Oz, actor, Yoda, among many other
oh my God, Sesame Street,
quote, Muppet roles.
Between him and Jim Henson, I mean,
exactly,
they were the magic behind Sesame Street.
Yeah, Jim Henson picked up Frank Oz in Los Angeles or in California and took him back to New York and as a trial period, and the rest is history.
Exactly.
So yeah, he's done virtually every role. He was mainly the voices of Piggy, Fozzie Bear.
Mm-hmm.
I think wasn't he Kermit also?
No, that was Jim.
No, and then there was another one. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, then we have Leslie Uggams, actress, Deadpool. She played in Roots. She started her career at age 6 at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. She attended Juilliard, and her appearance at age 6 and for a number of years was as the opening act or the fill-ins before the big stars appeared on the stage. So, and she was what was it? She was in the audience when Buddy Holly made his debut.
Really?
At the Apollo Theater. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we have Octavia Spencer, actress. Her big breakout role was The Help, and she's done virtually everything on TV. A fan of fantasy and horror, and she starred in the horror film Ma.
You're right.
So, and she's also dyslexic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, interesting. She learns her roles by actually acting them out. Then we have Beverly Sills. Oh
Bubbles.
my gosh. Bubbles. And opera singer, you know why she was called Bubbles?
I've heard this before, but please explain
because
it again.
when she was born, she had bubbles coming out of her mouth.
No. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And she was a coloratura with a wicked sense of humor, was referred to as America's Queen of Opera. She helped to make opera accessible to all in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. Mm-hmm. She was the general director of the City Opera for quite some time. She was the chairman of the Met Opera, and then she became the chairman of Lincoln Center. And she just was constantly talking about opera and bringing opera, what was it, with Carol Burnett and all of these things, just everybody. And it just a fascinating and fabulous human being.
She lived opera up to the very, very end. I mean, and she had been retired for a long time, but was still quite a patron and was always looking at talent. I mean, she was continually giving back. It's no wonder that just the opera world mourned heavily when she passed away.
Yeah, and she tragically died of lung cancer after having never smoked.
That's dreadful.
Yep. So the opera world lost a special one. May 26th, Peter Cushing, actor, Mr. Hammer Horror himself.
Oh, between him and Christopher
along
Lee.
with Christopher Lee, who happened to be his best friend.
They were the best of friends. In fact, I'm trying to remember, I think it was when Peter Cushing's wife passed away, Peter was just devastated. I mean, because he loved his wife horribly, pardon the pun. And because the Lees were such good friends with Peter, Christopher actually said, "No, Peter, you were living in my home, and we're going to help you get through this." I mean, that really speaks to the testament, of their friendship. And Peter, I mean, my God, I think people might remember him most as the Grand Moff Tarkin now.
Yep, in Star Wars. He also played the Doctor in the 2 movies of the Doctor.
That's right. He actually played Doctor Who.
Yes.
Because that was the character's name.
And he turned down the role of Dr. Sam Loomis in Halloween.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was actually a painter as well, a very good painter.
Imagine that.
Yep. And understood he was a wonderful human being, and a method actor to the point of he would suggest to the directors things that the character would have in their pockets.
Wow.
Because he would play with those things or do something with those items, set pieces or, props that were on set.
It would help keep him in the character.
Exactly. And to bring more realism to the character.
Wow. How about that?
Yeah, interesting. And that's become actually a method that people study at this point.
Makes sense.
Yep. Then we have Dorothea Lange, a photographer, most noted for her Depression-era photos, was invited by Ansel Adams to teach at the California School of Fine Arts, now known as the San Francisco Art Institute. Mm-hmm. Her probably most famous photo is the Depression-era woman.
Oh, right.
The thinking woman with her hand on the side of her face and just this dejected look. And a lot of her, they were candid photos that she would take of people. So.
Right.
Then we have Peggy Lee, actress, singer. She did 4 voices in Lady and the Tramp. She was Darling, Peg, and the We Are Siamese.
The 2 cats.
If you please. Yes. Roy Dotrice, actor, Amadeus as Leopold Mozart. Mm-hmm. He was in Game of Thrones. He was in the Beauty and Beast series.
Yes.
He was in Hellboy, Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and in Angel. He guested on Babylon 5, and his former son-in-law, David Hyde White, also guested on Babylon 5.
Oh.
His son-in-law, Edward Woodward.
Oh, good grief.
Guested on Babylon 5, and his stepson, Peter Woodward.
Well, they were both on Crusade.
Yep. Is married to his daughter, Peter Woodward.
Holy smokes, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow.
Crazy, huh?
I mean, that's a nice little Babylon 5 connection there.
Exactly. And then we have Clint Borzoni, good friend of ours.
Happy birthday, Clint.
Happy birthday, Clint. Yes, he was a wonderful composer, and we had dinner with him when we were in
New York.
In New York, yeah.
Hopefully the opera season will be able to continue forward, because I know that Clint and his partner were planning on coming out for that, and I hope they can, because it'd be great to see them both again.
Yep, exactly, for the Copper Queen. May 27th, Christopher Lee.
There he is.
Actor. Mr. Hammer 2.
Yeah.
He was also in Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And also turned down the role of Sam Loomis.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
He's fluent in Italian and very passable in French. It says that he knew enough French to be able to give very long and what was it? Long-winded,
like verbose.
Yes, answers to questions on talk shows.
He also has something of a war history, which came into play when he was playing Saruman.
I don't recall.
Yeah, there's the scene in the very beginning of The Return of the King where he gets stabbed in the back. And he had to explain to Peter Jackson, because apparently he has a connection with that. It's like, I think he actually did it during the war.
Interesting.
He killed somebody and by stabbing them in the back, if I remember the story correctly. And he said to Peter, this is what they would do, because Peter suggested that Saruman do this, and Christopher took him aside and says, no, because I've done this. This is how they really react.
Yeah.
Because I know he's got he was with the British Secret Service or something like that during World War II, I think.
Yeah, interesting. He and his wife, Christopher Lee and his wife, were good friends with Boris Karloff and his wife.
Oh, which meant that Bela Lugosi must have hated them.
not by virtue of having worked together, but they had, but because they lived next door to each other in England.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then we have Paul Bettany. Actor, Vision in Da Vinci Code. He plays guitar and was a busker on the Westminster Bridge.
No, really?
Yep.
Far out.
Then we have Vincent Price.
Oh, my God.
Actor, Dr. Phibes, very distinctive voice, and laugh is a terrifying laugh. And then Roger Corman's choice to portray Edgar Allan Poe's characters in the many films that he did. And his nickname was the Merchant of Menace. Very supportive of his daughter, who came out as a lesbian. Loved gourmet cooking and opera.
Yes.
And I don't think that he turned down the role of Dr. Sam Loomis, but you never know. It was not in the trivia. So then we have Chris Colfer, actor, Glee, out gay man. Inspired the Rocky Horror Glee show because of his endless campaign to sing the Time Warp,
which sadly, in the course of that particular episode, the entire Rocky Horror Glee show never really comes to pass. They just do a number here and there because, the Jane Lynch's character, Coach, she just completely shot it down.
Yeah, interesting.
It would have been interesting to have seen. I would have liked to have seen the entire Rocky Horror show done by them.
Yeah, and one that I didn't put in the script is Isadora Duncan, and I have to put her in every year. She was a dancer, American dancer, who performed most of her career in Europe, where she spent most of the latter part of her life. She died in 1927 at the age of 50 when her long flowing scarf got tangled in the wheels of the car she was riding in.
Oh, God, yeah. I remember we talked about that. That's horrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I know.
I just have to put her on there because everybody knows or has heard that story, but they don't know who it was sometimes.
It horrifies me.
Yeah.
And sadly, that gimmick has actually then appeared in one or two horror films of the 80s.
Yep. I think maybe in a Dr. Phibes, was it?
I don't know if it might be in a Dr. Phibes, but I know it happens in the movie Happy Birthday to Me. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think it does occur in a Dr. Phibes film.
Or something similar to that.
Very similar, yeah.
Yep. And then we have good friend Jana Halford.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jana. And then Jeff Gordon, a friend of ours from the Mice Chat and Disneyland days. May 28th, Ian Fleming, author of the James Bond novels, a bit of a misogynist by today's standards.
Yeah.
And he was also a golfing friend of Christopher Lee's.
Oh, my God. It's a small world after all.
And Jim Thorpe, and I always have to put Jim Thorpe on here because two different reasons. Number one, he was Native American, the Sac and Fox Nation in Oklahoma, as well as he was an Olympic athlete. He won the gold medal in 1912 Olympics for the pentathlon and the decathlon. And the interesting thing was, and the second reason I put this on here is because it shows, and we've seen this in several things that we've watched recently, where American Indians or Native Americans were equated with, just the dregs of society. They were they were equal to slaves, or the black people. They were derided, but in those 1912 Olympics, he won the gold medal. Somebody stole his shoes, and he found a mismatched pair. One of the half of the pair he found in a dumpster or a trash can.
And he used those.
And he won.
God bless him.
So, and some people speculate that his shoes were stolen because he was a Native American.
Probably.
So, anyway, I have to put that on there for the Oklahoma connection and also the Native American connection. Gladys Knight, and not her pips. She was a singer. She was the Empress of Soul, but she had the pips as her backup. The Midnight Train to Georgia. Woo! Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau, opera singer and conductor, baritone, fabulous, incredible opera singer. And then we have one of our favorite people in the world, Patricia Chica. Happy birthday, Patricia. May 29th, John F. Kennedy, president. What else can you say? And then Danny Elfman.
Oingo Boingo.
Oingo Boingo. And a film composer, score composer. His favorite composer is the favorite composer of Tim Burton.
Yes.
Obviously. And then we have David Burka, actor. Mr. Neil Patrick Harris.
Right.
He has a culinary arts degree from the Pasadena's Le Cordon Bleu. And he started a catering company with his classmate called Gourmet MD.
Ah. Okay.
Fascinating, huh? Rupert Everett, actor, Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, Mr. Fox, Happy Prince, Cemetery Man.
Yes.
He was wonderful. He's an out gay man, and he plays the piano and violin.
Ah.
Then we have Peter Higgs, physicist. His broken symmetry in the electroweak theory is the origin of mass of elementary particles. The Higgs boson was named after him as the particle that gives other particles mass. And they were on the hunt for it, and that was one of the big goals at CERN, is to discover the Higgs boson particle. And they did on July 4th, 2012.
Wow.
May 30th, Adele Dazeem. Yes. Idina Menzel, singer, most famous for the John Travolta's butchering of her name.
Wow. I mean, that was so epic.
Yes. She was in Wicked and Rent on Broadway, and she's the voice of Elsa in Frozen.
To me, I will always love her for Defying Gravity.
Oh, yes.
Her the way she sings it, I mean, it makes you cry. It is so powerful.
Yep. Let's see, Mel Blanc, voice actor, almost every Looney Tunes character out there. And you were just yesterday.
Yeah, I was watching. Because I can't remember who it was.
Hank Azaria.
Oh, it was Hank Azaria. Had done a video, and he was talking because Hank Azaria is a well-known voice actor.
Oh, he said he's done over 100 voices on The Simpsons alone.
Exactly, and now you got Mel Blanc, who actually had to blend Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny, where each one was impersonating the other, and yet they each had to sound unique.
Yep.
And he said, no one, and Hank Azaria saying that, no one can do that, yet Mel Blanc did it. I mean, that's the talent the man had.
Yeah, and it was amazing to hear him switch characters almost mid-sentence into another character voice and just do it. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, that most voice actors will tell you that do character voices will say, I need a little more than a pause in a sentence to get into that character.
I got a funny feeling he's one of those people, because we talk about authors, and do they hear the voices in their head?
Yep,
I have a funny feeling these characters, because he's voiced them for so long, they became alive to him. Because he was giving voice to them, and then they became alive in his head, and now it's just like flipping a switch, boom, 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 and he can just jump back and forth from one character to the other, and I've seen him do it in interviews.
Yep. And then we have Colm Meaney, actor, Star Trek, Chief O'Brien.
Yep.
He appeared in 14 seasons of Star Trek.
And he was originally just an extra in the pilot for Next Gen.
Yeah,
and look
he
what
was
that spawned.
in the background. He was just in the background.
He was Khan. He had like one line.
Yep.
Just one line. Do you know anything about Farpoint Station, sir? It sounds like a fairly dull place. That was it. That was his only line in Encounter at Farpoint, and look what that spawned. He got guest roles starting in the mid part through in second season, and carried it on all the way into Deep Space Nine, and was immediately a series regular.
Yep. And he hated the episode Up the Long Ladder for his portrayal of
the
Irish as backwards and drunken farmers.
A lot of people hate that.
And his discomfort is quite visible in the episode, they say. We'll have
I'll need to rewatch it again.
Yeah. Mark Shepard, actor, son of Morgan Shepard, William Morgan Shepard, who we met, yes. Wonderful individual.
Loved him, and I would love to meet Mark Shepard, too.
Yep. And they played the same character on Doctor Who.
Right.
And an NCIS episode, and Mysterious Island.
No, I've heard that they did that frequently.
Yep. Let's see, he's been in Voyager, Firefly, Charmed, Battlestar Galactica, Warehouse 13, and Supernatural.
Wow.
Michael J. Pollard, actor, Bonk Bonk.
Oh, geez.
John. Who was supposed to be 14, and he was almost 30 at the time when he did that episode.
Wow, talk about babyface.
Exactly. And one of the few actors to appear in Star Trek and Lost in Space.
That's right.
He was in Scrooged. He was Herman, and died last November. It's just, yeah.
I'm trying to remember the Lost in Space episode. I know I can see it, but I can't place the episode.
Yeah, I didn't put it down. And then Keir Dullea, actor, 2001.
Oh, yes.
Dave.
Yeah, Dave Bowman.
And then he was in Star Lost.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And then we have friend of ours and board member of Arizona Opera, Shoshana Tanser. May 31st, Colin Farrell, actor, Minority Report, Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, Fantastic Beasts, Total Recall, Daredevil.
He's quite the worker.
Yeah.
And he's got some big projects that are still coming out, too.
Exactly. Walt Whitman, writer, realism. He brought realism into, he was one of those that bridged transcendentalism and realism and really brought realism into his writing. Often called the father of free verse. And his work was, at the time, described, mainly when he wrote Leaves of Grass, it was described as obscene and overly sensual. And his own life was scrutinized for his presumed homosexuality.
Right.
Denham Elliott, actor, Indiana Jones, Marcus Brody, bisexual man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. He died of AIDS.
Oh,
yes.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but wonderful actor. And in several of the Merchant Ivory films, A Room with a View, and he was in Morris, and
I remember
a couple of
him,
others.
first time I remember seeing him was in the comedy Trading Places, and thought he was such a wonderful gentleman. when I saw him there.
Yep. And then we have Peter Yarrow, singer.
Peter,
I
Paul,
don't
and
know.
Mary.
Oh, yeah, that's who he was with.
Oh, please.
And Brendan, a good friend of ours, tells the story that I think when they lived in New Jersey, and his dad was a professor there at one of the colleges, William Patterson College, I think, that they used to get Peter Yarrow to babysit the kids.
No.
And he would come and sing Puff the Magic Dragon to them.
What?
Yes. You haven't heard that story?
No.
Yeah. Brendan tells that story. I don't think that's a
You don't think
Suzanne
that one's
story.
apocryphal?
No, I don't think that one's a Suzanne story. His mother was quite the yarn spinner.
Yeah.
We loved her to death. She was wonderful, but she had some wonderful, crazy stories. And then we have good friend of ours, Stephanie Weipert. Happy birthday, Stephanie. And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad?
Not me.
That's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name.
Not
and
anymore.
you don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to Chuck and Craig over to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
I got some feedback here, starting with, this is regarding Andrea's Angle, Scylla and the Spades, intense themes and extraordinary acting. We got a comment on our website from Savannah Dukes. She says, they seemed really, really gay, and the tension between only thickened with time. And the stuff her mom said about the scorpion, and the comment Bobby made about straightening things out, why was there no gay payoff? Moving right along. And this is regarding TG Geeks episode number 271. We got a comment from Arkle. He left this on YouTube. And he said, I learned that Andrew Lloyd Webber also posted the Phantom of the Opera sequel, Love Never Dies. I would say that one is worth watching only if you are hoping to dissuade your children from ever getting into musical theater. Ouch.
Oh, Lord.
The original musical was never my favorite adaptation of the original novel, but at least it was enjoyable in an empty calories kind of way. Love Never Dies, just flat out blows. Okay, Arkle, I'm not sure what you're trying to tell us. I think you're mincing your words. And then moving on, episode 272.
Tell us what you really think.
Yeah, we got another comment from Arkle. He said, that Wonder Woman pilot is infamously bad, and he's talking about the one Wonder Woman pilot I have not seen.
Oh, dear. You haven't seen that?
Not this one.
Ah.
I've seen two. Apparently there are three, and I've not seen this third one. I've seen two of them.
Oh, that was the one with...
Well, I've seen the one with Ricardo Montalban.
Oh, no, this one...
And then there was the one that...
last week was her birthday.
Oh, God. Yeah. Shoot. Wagner. No, not Wagner.
No.
Well, I can't remember her name.
Anyway, yeah, go on.
Anyway, he says, the pilot is infamously bad. I've seen much of it, and all I can say is whoever it was who decided to write Wonder Woman like an even more sadistic Jack Bauer should never be allowed to write superhero stories ever again. And then he adds one little thing that's meant for me. Trick and treat, not trick or treat. Just clearing that up. Yes, I know, and I will make a point of getting that right from now on. Also,
I put it in the script.
Yes, you did. Also, moving on, this is regarding Ben's gay breakdown, finding love while escaping freedom. And we got a comment from the people of Escaping Freedom on Facebook. They said, thank you, Ben Raggington and TG Squared Studios for reviewing, for your review of Escaping Freedom. And then they actually quoted me in a graphic saying, Escaping Freedom is a very different film. This is more than just a character study. And then we just got two general comments that were aimed at us, and we both got these. Well, one of them was on Instagram. And this first one was from ILKD Media. And this is
from Mona El Yafi.
Mona El Yafi. And she says, my friend and work colleague Keith at TG Geeks suggested I try the sparkling wines of Gruet Winery. Ding. We got the Blanc de Noir, and I have to say it was a pleasant surprise. The rosé is bursting with strawberry and cassis aromas. A welcoming floral bouquet that makes it a perfect aperitif drink. Thank you, Keith and Ben. And we tried it.
Yeah.
And we liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, exactly.
And then we close off with one last general comment, and this is on Facebook from Amanda Melby. And we just threw out a comment that we were watching again, Raising Buchanan. And she says, thank you so much, TG Squared Studios. You are awesome, and so glad you enjoyed it again. Huge thanks to TG Squared Studios /TG Geeks for the support. Love to you. And that is our feedback.
And if you want to leave a comment on anything that we publish, whether it's an article, a movie review, or episodes, you can do that on tggeeks.com, or you can do that on our Facebook page where a lot of people comment, or on Twitter, or even Instagram. And we'll talk about it on air. If you want to leave us a voicemail, we have a voicemail line. How about that? It hasn't been used in a while.
Dust.
But yes, it has dust. But if you leave us a voicemail, we will play it on air, and you can be as famous as we are. Maybe. And we just call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on myself there.
Ooh, far out.
Yeah. We always want to throw out a comment that we are huge supporters of independent creators, filmmakers, artists, writers. Please, during this great pause, check out their stuff. Check out their websites. Talk to people about their stuff. If you can't buy their stuff, tell other people about them that may be able to support them. Support independent creators. And the Joshua Tree Feeding Program, 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV and AIDS community in Maricopa Pinal counties. They could certainly use your help. Please consider supporting Joshua Tree either through a single gift or a monthly recurring gift. Go to jtfp.org.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
We don't have time.
We don't have time. That's okay.
For a second segment.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. And here is our weekly review. These are the things that we ran on our website, tggeeks.com, this past week. And we will have the links for each of these stories, as well as those that appeared in our feedback, as show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com for episode 275. Starting with Sunday, May 17th, Dr. Zombie Monster Family Physician number 100. Woohoo! Then moving on to Monday the 18th, TG Geeks episode number 274. On Tuesday the 19th, Reverie TV launches first LGBTQ plus cable TV platform for Pride. This is big news. Yeah. And then on Wednesday, Reverie selected for inaugural Goldman Sachs launchment with GS Blacks and Latinx entrepreneur cohort. And then on Thursday, TG Geeks partners with Reverie to provide a 1 month free subscription.
Please check that out.
That's an important one.
1 month free subscription, and if you sign up after the free subscription, we get a little bit of kickback on that. So
yes,
support TG Geeks,
please. And then also on Thursday the 21st, Ben's breakdown: as the sun also sets, life becomes a soap dish. That's the movie of the comedy Soap Dish from 1991. And then on Friday the 22nd, Hamish Downey's 5 questions with Made in DNA. And then we close it off with Saturday the 23rd. Tubi TV releases Jamie Kennedy's new 1-hour comedy special. That's what we ran.
And you can find all those things at tggeeks.com or the Facebook page.
Or Twitter or Instagram. Also, we have some shout-outs that we need to make. First, to the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News for republishing some of our content from time to time. It is put up by the human Arkle, Brian Weber, who you heard some feedback from earlier this time. If you want to find him, you can then find the Post-Dispatch News. So find him by going to Twitter and searching for Arkle, at ARKLE. And he is on YouTube, and he has the Shameless Cash Grab. He has pretty much wrapped up Season 4 of the Shameless Cash Grab. It is posted, and he continues to play the game Trick and Treat. He is on episode number 4, and you can find him by going to youtube.com/Arkle Studios. Now we must give some Facebook groups some love for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles. First, to Gay Geeks After Hours. When they said, that we could share away our content, we chose to do so, and we want to say thank you. Their URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours, all one word. And then to the Gay Geek for also allowing us to do the same. Their URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And as always, we have to give lots of thanks and love to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And we can be found on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays. Listen to their other content. They're a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can listen to our episode and surf the internet on your device. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out our article for the Webcast episode. We'll have several links of the things that we talked about on that page. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay home, stay safe. Peace.
Cheers.